Greetings, 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 peace and blessings, people. I'm going to do this video, and I said I wasn't, but by all no means, I want people to understand I'm not siding on the side of Jacksonville Sheriff Office, without a doubt. This situation that's going on with William McNeil Jr. out of Jacksonville, and everybody saw the video about what happened to him. So I just want to listen at the press conference with Ben Crump and all them, man. I know one of the attorneys said we must break down the law at first. I'm not a lawyer, so you can always consult with your lawyer. But as read, let me read the law on Jacksonville. All right. Florida Statute 316.217. It says when lights or lamps are required. And I'm going to read it from my laptop here. It says 316.12. It says when lights, lamps, when lighted lamps are required, 316.217. And you go down to B, and I put it in this body of this video. It says during any rain, smoke, or fog. I understand that? That they can pull you over. During any rain, smoke, or fog. Now, with that said, if you go back and look at the video, and I was going to read all that, but I ain't going to do all that because I done did a video on it. If you look at the video, I need to trim y'all haircut. But anyway, if you look at the video, the vehicle had raindrops on it. Well, when you blow it up and look at it, there was no new raindrops falling. So at the time, there was no raindrops. But it could have been raining 10, 15, or 20 minutes ago when they first stopped them. But that's not for me to say. But when the officer mentioned, even in Ben Crump and his thing, his press conference today from the National Bar Association, the law does not mention anything about implemented weather. Again, the law says during any rain, smoke, or fog. Now, with that said, that means they also would, for it to be a lawful stop, would have to stop him during any rain, smoke, or fog, not after. You know what I'm saying? And say during. The wording of the law is what counts. Now, could when the traffic stopped because it was raindrops on the car, could it have been 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes? And it was raining when the officer stopped him? Yes, but that's not for me to say. That's an argumentation for the court. Now, again, Ben Crump really shocked me with this one. Really shocked me with this one by stating that Mr. McNeil exercised his constitutional rights. And in his constitutional rights, what he probably mean by that is he asked to see a supervisor. Well, he may have the right to ask to see a supervisor, but the police, by law, by procedure, do not have to give him a supervisor. The law is clear, people. This is why I say misinformation is true. Now, I give it up to William McNeil. He definitely held his own and kept calm. Without a doubt. He handled this very well for a young man until he got to the point where he ignored their laws. On the scene, people, let me get you two straight. The police do not have to you have a right to ask for a supervisor, but the police, by law, by procedure, is not required to have a supervisor on the scene. Some police officers may do it, but that's at their own discretion. There's no law, no procedure say they have to give you a supervisor. So stop listening to YouTube people and all that. And that is not a Fourth Amendment right. Now, that might be a Fourth Amendment right for you to ask questions, possibility, but it's not a right for them to give you a supervisor. Second of all, when the police approached him, they told him several times what they stopped you for. The police officer said, absolutely, we stopped you for not having on your headlights. And again, we go back to that law that I just read. It says, during any rain, smoke or fog. Now, we can see that it was raining at one point. Now, when the officer stopped him 10 or 15 minutes or first put the lights on him to stop him, was it raining? We don't know that. But it was evidence that it was raining. But the law is clear. Say during rain, smoke or fog. And at that point that they stopped him when the cameras came on, it was not raining, people. But once a police officer stops you, you do not have the right not to listen to them. Listen to them for one. Again, I give him honor because he handled it. I give him respect because he handled it very kindly. But he handled it with keeping his composure, but he was dead wrong for refusing. Because when the police picked him up, he opened the door, the police told him, said, listen to me. The police said, yes, absolutely. You're being arrested for not having your lights on. And then you don't have a seatbelt on. And he said, let me see Mr. McNeil went on to talk about, well, can they see your supervisor? He said, let me get your license and reservation. And he said, no, call your supervisor, and slammed the door. The officer asked him, people, for his license, registration, and all that, pupil insurance. He said, no, call your supervisor, and slammed the door. Now, what part are we going to take in consideration that he played a part in this happening to him? Once he closed the door, the officer informed him that you are under arrest for resisting. At that point, he should have got out the car and that wouldn't have happened to him. Now, I'm not justifying the police actions because they was dead wrong after they broke the window, but they were lawful and legally lawfully to break that window because he told him he was under arrest for resisting and he refused to comply. When you're side the road, people, you cannot beat these people side the road. You could have died. He could have been killed because of his ignorance and stupidity of misinformation. That's what I'm talking about. And then you got these attorneys out here trying to undermine everything. Because I'm not about the police. I'm about what's wrong and what's right. And I don't care who it involves. He was not punched in the face, people. That was a slap. Slow the video down and you'll see. So when the police broke the window and slapped him, he was dead wrong. He should be in jail for that one. This same police officer, when they got him out of the car, they told him, get on the ground. He said, no, people. So the same officer that punched through the window punched him in the face several times and threw him to the ground. He resisted again. The officer clearly told him, get on the ground, people. He said, no. What part are we not going to get through our damn head? Yes, the officers were wrong for slapping him when he broke the window. Yes, the officers were wrong for punching him repeatedly when they took him down. And that's the wrong part that I won't agree with, that the officer should be held liable. The officer should be arrested. Other than that, he played a major role in that. Now, they want to go to talk about he had his hands up. Nobody's talking about he resisted. What kind of example are we telling our young children? Oh, you got the right to resist a lawful order. No, you don't. You have to comply. No matter if the traffic stop you felt was wrong, if you asked for what and they didn't give it to you, it does not matter. They control the scene and you must comply with a lawful order beside the road. If you got a problem with anything else, then you handle it you live to fight another day. You live to file a complaint and adjust that issue later. Now let me explain something where I ain't nobody talking about. When Mr. McNeil had the door open, now after they got him in the car, they found a large knife on the floor. Now notice, if you watch the video, when Mr. McNeil had the window, had the door open, he had his hand hanging down beside the seat where the knife was. Now, I ain't saying he trying to reach it. I'm just using that as an example of the shit that we do not need to do. What he should have did is put his damn hands on the steering wheel and left him there. So now, when that police had the door open, he had his hand hanging down there, bent over. If that police would have saw that knife, it would be no doubt in my mind they would have shot him and killed him because of stupidity and ignorance. Now, I'm listening to the press conference today. The mother should be proud. And she taught him well. Well, she did taught him well to remain calm, if that's what she taught him. But what part did she teach him by driving with a suspended license? Because I just looked his record up, and he got several citations for speeding in the past, even as a minor, not obeying basic traffic rules. And now, well, maybe he didn't know he had to comply with the law or order of an officer because he had suspended license. Only licensed drivers. And not only to mention that, was that his mom and daddy car that he was driving? And if this was somebody he knew, a friend car, or his mother and parents' car, I'm sure they know that this college student, as they keep throwing out there now, this college student was driving with suspended license. So ultimately, if this was his parents' car, whoever it was, you put your son at risk for your ignorance and stupidity. Now, the officer didn't know that his license was suspended at that time, but while you're driving, not only driving, you got weed in your pocket, but you're a college student. So I look at it, the big picture, people. All I can do is keep it real. So yeah, I'm sure if he smoked weed, and he had it in his mama car, whoever car that was, that to me was disrespectful for you to have that kind of stuff. But you want to throw in, I'm a college student. But weed, people, is against the law. You do know that, right? So if you violate one law, just like the police, if you violate one law, one procedure, one rule, then you'll violate another one. It's just that simple. Now, another attorney that was speaking, I can't remember her name, was a female attorney, was just speaking at the Chicago, at the National Bar Association in Chicago, a civil rights attorney. I think they said she worked on the Rodney King case. She said that Mr. McNeil complied. Mr. McNeil basically gave them all his documents, and they still did what they did. Misinformation. That lets you know she definitely ain't been watching the case because he refused to give them his identification, his driver's license, and all that. His driver's license, proof of insurance, registration. So where did he give them her documents? You see what I'm saying? That's that misinformation stuff that teaches us and our children that this is how you act when the law enforcement calls them. No, you comply with them, and if you did something wrong, you file a complaint to take it up later because you can't beat them side the road. And you must understand this, people. You must comply with lawful commands on a traffic stop. Now, he would have simply got out the car and said, hey, man, now y'all got me. I ain't got no driver's license. Then none of this would have happened. Now, it still doesn't excuse the officer punching. I think the officer need to be fired. And the officers be locked up. They need to be locked up. You need to be criminally charged. Get out by my mouth. But we got to play some role that he played a major part in that by resisting. So as Crump said that his mama taught him right, she taught him everything she taught him everything to remain calm, but to do what the law says, you must comply. So I guess she forgot that part. And again, let's get it right, people. You do not have a right. You have a right to ask for a supervisor, but there's no law, procedure, or rule that said they have to give you a supervisor. That is at the discretion of the officer if he want to give you a supervisor. Some of them do it, but they don't have to do it lawfully. And when an officer tells you to do something, you must comply, especially when they say you are being arrested for resistance. Several times did he tell him you are under arrest for resisting. And if you don't open the car door, I'm going to bust your window down. Then they had the right, when he resisted a lawful order, to bust that window, people. What part did y'all understand? Now, this happened back in February 19th, I believe. Now, here it is, July, almost at the end of July. And now he's coming to me, he's got a concussion. He's been traumatized. Okay, only a doctor can tell you you got a concussion, not an attorney. You know, but Ben Crump, you know, he got a lot of money, so he got enough to pay a doctor to say he got a concussion. But yet, your medical conditions and all that, you never brought that up. I haven't seen anything where you went to the hospital when you got out of jail. I never, you had medical treatment. I don't see no documents. People, stop listening to YouTube and all these people that don't know nothing about the law. If you want to know something about the law, call a lawyer, an attorney, a lawyer as I call them, and talk to these people when you come to the right. When you are stopped by the police, people, the first thing you should do is roll down, like a friend of mine, like Dollar said, you roll down all four of your windows. Roll them down already and put your hands on the steering wheel and leave them there. When you're driving, I got a pouch, so my visor, that keep everything in. It simply just slides out. License, proof of insurance, and all that. Keep that right over the visor where you can keep your hands where they're seen at, and then pull and tell the officer, yeah, but they right there, you can reach. I don't want to move my hands. Can you just reach and grab it? And he'll reach in there and grab it and leave it at that. Lawfully, really and truly, they don't need that stuff no more, because that license plate reader they got, tell them everything they need to know about your car. It's just formality. They ask for it. That's all. But they don't have to ask for it. They already know all the information. But they don't know the information on the driver, because if you're driving somebody else's car. Now, my thing is, I want to know, whose car was he driving? Was it a friend, a girlfriend, or was it his parents' car? Because it was his parents' car, I'm sure the woman that taught him everything that to remain calm, which he did, but she must have didn't teach him to comply with law enforcement, because he willfully intentionally resisted a lawful order, not once, not twice, but several times. We can't sugarcoat being ignorant and stupid. We have to educate our people on how to handle things the right way and not the wrong way. He handled only one thing right, is remain calm. All other stuff he did, he brought this on himself. Again, people, I'm not justifying the police action, because they were dead wrong when they hit him. The excessive force when they slapped him in the face after breaking the window and punched him several times outside the car, the same officer with it, but he resisted again because they told him, get on the ground. He said no. So if the police got you and telling you to get on the ground and you say no, what's going to happen, people? They're going to slam your behind to the ground, especially when they're arresting you. Stop being stupid, people. We cannot be this ignorant. We are outnumbered, outgunned, outmanned. So we must live to fight another day. But, you know, all these lawyers, I call them attorneys, I challenge any attorney right here. An attorney is a officer of the court. Let me tell y'all again, all attorneys are lawful officers of the court. According to the law, an officer of the court, upon their sworn affidavit, can have somebody arrested. Now, why are y'all asking to arrest this officer? Y'all officers of the court. Why don't you fill out a sworn affidavit and have him arrested? You lawyers, you attorneys. See, we care about civil, but we care about civil, but pay no attention to criminal. Because civil is cool because it's going to get you some money. But guess who pays civil? The taxpayers. That money come out of the taxpayers' money. So, but who pays criminal? Good question, ain't it? Why is these officers, stop asking for them, oh, we're going to push for them to be arrested. The push for the officer to be arrested and fired. Well, you're an officer of the court. File a sworn affidavit and have him arrested. It's just that simple. Misinformation, people, listen to me. No matter why the officer stopped you. The officer told him why he stopped you. You must comply to a lawful command. You do not have the right. You have a right to ask for a supervisor, but there is no policy or law or rule or regulation that says they have a law. They have to give you a supervisor. There's no law. They don't have to give you a supervisor to interfere with their thing. You know, some officers simply call, if they got the time, they just simply call them. But you don't have a right to have a supervisor. You have a right to ask, but you don't have a right to have one, a supervisor. And you must comply with a lawful order on a traffic stop, period. You can't beat them side of the road, people. And I want to tell this one too. Now, somebody called me about this the other week. Miranda warnings. No, people. The police do not have to Mirandarize you to arrest you. They only need to Mirandarize you if they arrest you and they're taking a statement from you and they plan on using that statement in the court of law. Some older officers go ahead and read it and get it out the way, but they only need to Mirandarize you when they are taking a statement from you and they plan on using that statement against you in the court of law, not while they arrest you. Never have been. I've been looking at the TV shows, you right to right. They don't have to read you the rights to arrest you. People, get that through your head. It has never been how the Miranda warning go. But then again, I'm not a licensed lawyer. You should always, everything I've told you on here, y'all should go and talk to a licensed attorney. It's basically my opinion, my assumption from what the law I read. But what I said, people, comply with law enforcement officers. Live to fight another day because you cannot beat them side the road. Humble yourself. Humble yourself so you can live to go back to your family, people, and see your family again, because these people ain't playing. This could have went left in this young man because his ignorance and his misinformation that he has received from somebody, from family, friends, or what, or he been on YouTube or what, where he had received this misinformation that could have got him killed. No matter what they stop you for, people. Once they stop you, it becomes a lawful stop. Now, I had somebody send me a message talking about it was a fake stop. So, if it was a fake stop, then I guess it was fake police too. Because that's the only fake stop that I know of. Because when they stop you, it is a lawful stop. You can fight it up and challenge it another time, but you can't challenge the side of the road. And you must comply with their orders. Peace. Y'all spread the news.